Welcome to the very first episode of the Live Bigger podcast. I'm your host, Alex Lynette. On this weekly podcast, I give you insights and actions to stop playing small and start living a life you actually love. I was going back and forth about what I wanted my first episode to be about since I have a few ideas lined up. And it hit me this morning, this new passion project I've started in content creation, blogging, podcasting, everything. It's been centered around overcoming fear. And to be honest, I've been kind of nervous about releasing this podcast that I've wanted to do for a really long time and kind of procrastinating, not following my own advice and letting fear get in the way. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the lighting is not the greatest because it was supposed to be filmed this morning and I was starting to come up with excuses not to do it today, but I told myself it had to be done. No excuses. And here we are. Why am I telling you all this? Because if you're anything like me, you look at blogs, vlogs, podcasts, social media, whatever it is, and then you start picking it apart and you think, oh, I don't know how to edit like that. I don't have that sound equipment. I don't have that video equipment, whatever it could be. And we forget that all these great productions have been in the game for years, some of them plus years. Not only do they have an entire team behind them, but that was a culmination of all their experience. They all started somewhere. They all had a day one. This isn't the Joe Rogan experience. Like, I'm just winging it. And shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk, because I love how he will do flashbacks and clips of his original OG, all his creations. He didn't have the perfect lighting and perfect equipment, and he didn't care because he believed in what he was sharing, and now look at him. So I say all this to show you that I'm in the trenches with you. Like, I'm just starting out and you don't need all that stuff. You can start exactly where you are today and remind you that you don't need to compare yourself to someone who's been doing this for years. Like, just start where you're at. It's important to me that I lead by example and be raw and authentic and real and not perfect, so you feel that you don't have to either. So let's get into it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's being terrified and doing it anyways. The best things in life are scary. Falling in love, starting a business, following your passions, traveling. You cannot live the life that you've always wanted without taking chances. Even if you don't know the outcome, you're going to learn a lot from it either way. If you have more to gain than you have to lose, it kind of seems like a no-brainer. No one becomes exceptional or has an amazing story by playing it safe or staying in their comfort zone. It's funny, I realized recently I was having a conversation with my hairdresser and we were talking about skydiving and traveling and all these crazy things I do. And she said, wow, you're so brave. I could never do those things. And I just thought to myself, like, that's a normal weekend for me. What's really scary is sharing the inner workings of my brain and my thought process and my feelings and putting myself out there on the internet with social media and this new podcast. Most people make decisions out of a place of fear or lack. It's a really stressful and low vibrational energy, but it's the default mechanism in our brains. Some common examples would be staying at a job that you hate out of the fear of not having enough money or stability, staying in an unhealthy relationship out of fear of being alone, not creating content that you are passionate about because you're scared of people's judgments or what they might think. It takes a lot of time and trust in yourself. But when you can let that go and start operating out of a place of desire, joy, love, gratitude, it completely changes everything. You basically have to rewire your entire brain to start operating out of a place of positivity and abundance. Your entire reality is shaped by your thoughts. If you believe that it'll work out, you'll see opportunities. If you believe everything's gonna fail, then you'll constantly see obstacles. Your mindset is everything. This is a classic example of manifestation or confirmation bias. Dr. David R. Hawkins was a psychiatrist, physician, researcher, spiritual leader, lecturer, and speaker, and he developed the map of consciousness. This is basically a scale of attitudes, beliefs, values, and emotions that correspond to a level of consciousness. At the bottom, you have things like fear, guilt, shame, and then at the top, you have things like love, joy, enlightenment, and at the very top, they believe gratitude is the highest form of consciousness. So how do we get out of this place of fear and lack and negativity and improve our life and level up our consciousness? You can Google this, you can look it up, you can find lots of podcasts and books and research, but basically I boiled it down with my own personal experience and my learnings into 4 separate sections. Number 1, start small. Start pushing your comfort zone and slowly over time doing things that scare you. It's like a muscle, you have to build it, you have to practice, and over time it gets easier. Number 2, anytime you stop yourself from doing something or you start to feel scared, question it. Ask yourself, what am I feeling and why? Challenge any unhelpful thoughts. Anytime I start asking myself questions like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Then I immediately follow it with the inverse. What if it does work out? What if it works out better than I ever could have imagined? Number 3, whenever you start noticing that you're acting out of a place of fear, ask yourself why. What am I actually afraid of? Are you afraid because there might be a potential harm to you? Because then that fear is safe. But if you're scared of the outcome, are you scared of failing, or are you scared of what people might think? Logically, think about the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Usually the worst case scenario is, oh, I might look silly, or I might have to learn something new. Best case scenario is pretty unlimited. Number 4, lastly and most importantly, anytime that you overcome a fear or you do something that was scary, pat yourself on the back. Celebrate the feat that you just overcame. I encourage you to reflect on your life. What areas are you not happy with? What decisions did you make out of fear instead of because it was something that you wanted to do? What are you scared of and currently avoiding? And what fears do you want to overcome? That is all I have for you today. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you got any value from this episode, please like, comment, subscribe, share, leave a review. I'd love to hear what you guys think, and this helps a brand new channel get out to more viewers, so I really appreciate it. And if you want to follow along on social media, my handle is @itsAlexLynette. Until next time, don't be afraid to live bigger.